Okay, everyone, thanks for coming. Welcome to the June 17th, 2026 Village of Lansing Greenway Committee meeting. We have a lot of stuff going on for the village with regard to Greenway, and some of things are more pressing than others. I think the most pressing thing right now is the Shannon Park Pollinator Garden. So I think we should start talking about that. I have been working with Kegel Landscape because Jacob, when they sent your garden just straight to Kegel Landscape with no revisions, it came back at $20,000 and our grant amount is $5,000. So I explained to them that we really did not want to exceed the grant amount. Um, and then they came back with a revised proposal to me yesterday, which is great. However, I'm still a little bit concerned about the size and scope of the garden. I actually did not realize until I started getting bids from Kegel Landscape about the amount of plants in your original proposal, Jacob, like 120 plugs of one of the like anemone. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's so many plants. I kind of did not realize until I blew it up. And I'm worried about the continuing maintenance of the garden. So I'm just thinking about the scope of the project, and maybe we should think about, what do we think about the Kegel landscape bid and how big the garden should be? Because according to their reduced size, the garden is 2,800 square feet. So what is that? That's like 100 by 28? Right? That seems like a lot of garden to maintain. I'm a little worried about the size, but I'm happy to hear from others what they think. So what do people think about the size and also the new plant list?
I didn't print it out.
What'd you say?
I thought it was a little bit large and it's a little bit over, but
Oh, you mean the $80 over? I told them not to worry about that.
no, it just seemed a little bit large, depending on what future plans are.
I think it seems quite large, but it's actually smaller than what they reduced the size of Jacob's drawing by 30%.
Wow.
And so I didn't realize, when you look at the drawing, it doesn't look like an enormous garden. But maybe we should not be going down the entire slope. Like maybe this L here, we should leave as grass,
Yeah.
Down the slope, the L corridor here.
Yeah. I like behind that row of bulbs. Okay, and I think you could have something in front of the bulbs, but I don't think you have to go all the way down. It looks like he has. What is the very tip?
So Jacob, tell us a little bit about the vision that we originally proposed. We should have really had this conversation 4 months ago, so I apologize for that. But I think I just didn't quite focus on how big it was.
Yeah, so when we were out on site and we were looking at sort of um, the overall space of that essentially we said, well, there's that existing um, cedar, right? That's sort of to the southeast section, and then we have the existing um, black walnuts to the north. And so just sort of drawing a triangle between those and then down to um, where the sign is, the existing park sign, and that was sort of our limits. Now, what I drew goes a little bit beyond that, but not much. Just sort of to include the sign inside the pollinator garden, as opposed to having that sign outside of the garden. Same thing with the two trees. The cedar is sort of included in the garden area, and the nearest black walnut is also included in the garden area. Um, the line of the bulbs, when we originally drew that, I wasn't aware where those were located, but they do fall well within the garden zone. So if we were to pull back to have those bulbs act as sort of the garden edge, that would put the sign outside of the garden it would give a clear delineation there, and it would reduce the size. That might be the 30% though. So we might need to also say, well, let's stay within the cedar location and let's give a healthy buffer to the black walnut. Was there, I know their mulch number was based on the total square footage. So what was their most recent number for the square footage for the mulch? Sorry, I don't have it in front of me. I can pull it up.
2,800.
2,800 square feet. So that's the full area of what is shown in that drawing. So that's not reduced 30%.
Oh, he said it's interesting. So that's the
Yeah,
old number. So I'll have to
if I
ask him
do it,
about that then.
yeah, if I do an area takeoff, the total area of mulch is about
You sent it to her?
that number. So
You sent it to me,
I sent it to you.
um, last week. Sorry, Jacob, can you say that again? Lynn's trying to get in and she needs the link. Can you say that again, what you just said? You think 2,800 is not reduced?
um well, does that include the mulch path?
Yes.
Okay, then I think it
No,
would
no,
be
no, no,
reduced.
no. Look at his, well, I mean, they're not here, but it says shredded bark delivery, reduce mulch area by 30%, bed areas 2,800 square feet, path areas 420 square feet. All right, let me look at his previous estimate and see if that number is also 2,800, in which case
Maybe he
he just didn't change it. I see. That would make more sense,
Yeah.
and that would actually make me happier.
Yeah, when I do a direct takeoff from the computer, the geometry of this to scale, the total bed line of the original drawing is 30,000 or 3,000. Um, and then the path area is only an additional 450. So it's 3,450 would be the total area of the garden, including the path. Um, so I obviously when they're doing the takeoff, they're scaling it pretty roughly.
I guess I'm just thinking that it's still pretty enormous. But
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
also do this on site in terms of making, going a little bit smaller. And the plants themselves are not that expensive in terms of the actual, how much we're spending on the bulbs and stuff. So it's not going to be like a huge difference to the cost. I mean, the design, doing the work of getting out the mulch and the compost and the prep is pretty much 50% of the cost. So the actual materials you see, the actual plugs are only like $600. So it's not a big deal if we don't use them all or if we put them somewhere else. I think. I have so many estimates from Beagle Landscape. I'm looking for that original one. I don't see it. But okay, so can we just, let me look for the original estimate, but in the meantime, can you guys discuss how you feel about the updated tree list? So after Jacob had done his version, there's a pollinator professor in the neighborhood who emailed me with some suggestions. And so I gave Kaiga Landscape her additional suggestions, and then they came up with kind of a combined option. The one thing that is not necessarily in the group anymore is the common milkweed, which of course Lynn thinks is very important for monarchs. It is their preferred species, but they spread it really all over the place, and I was worried that other people would be unhappy with our milkweed spreading. I personally have plenty of milkweeds at my house. I could literally take them out of my garden because I pull them as weeds and bring them over to this garden. So if we need 10 milkweeds, actually there's 10 in front of the village office right now. I can pull those out and put them in our garden too. So I thought maybe instead of buying them, we could just transplant them. Oh, let me admit.
So milkweed for the monitor, yeah, but there's also issues, with some air conditioning equipment.
What do you mean? with regard to our choice of plants?
For, not for keeping it out.
Oh, okay. All right, Lynn, we're just getting to the conversation of, first we talked about the size of the garden, and I personally would like us to make it a little bit smaller on site.
Fine,
Um,
fine. Let's start small and grow it if we need to.
Um, and now we're just moving to the plant list, and I just raised the issue of that you really wanted the milkweed. I feel like I can just grab 10 milkweeds out of my own garden and bring them over.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear about milkweed. I know it's ugly. People don't like it and think of it as a weed, but it is a native plant and it is an obligate species for monarch butterflies. It really
Correct.
is the most common plant that they need to nest, to lay eggs on and to eat. But it doesn't have to be in the garden. If we planted it around the periphery and kept, it gets mowed back if it tries to come out in the lawn. It would probably be fairly easy to spread some seed pods. I can collect them this fall out at Green Springs. We have thousands of plants.
That's what I was thinking. We could just bring some. So let's
Oh,
just
yeah.
bring some.
Don't buy them. But, I don't want to rule it out just because people think it's ugly. It's incredibly important for monarchs. And aren't we talking about pollinators here?
Yes.
And I think we have to just remind ourselves and go back to what is the goal of this? I know it's beautification and it's also pollinator. So how are we ranking those?
I think we're balancing them, yeah.
Just balancing. So
Yeah, I mean, and if they're at the periphery, they're hardly going to be noticed. Nobody's going to pay any attention to common milkweed because everyone's so used to seeing it. But if you have Asclepias tuberosa, now that's a different story. That's really gorgeous. Everyone loves it. So that and swamp milkweed are really beautiful, and they're natives.
Sorry, say that again?
The Asclepias tuberosa butterfly weed, which is that bright orange, it's really gorgeous.
Is that on the list?
I thought it was on the list.
It is.
Asclepias tuberosa, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I would
Okay.
also
It's-
put down swamp milkweed.
I got
which is
that.
Another Asclepias, and I can't remember the genus. Do you know, Jacob, what it is? Yeah.
I don't. I think we didn't.
It's easy to
didn't
find.
include. Yeah, we didn't include that at the beginning just
Well, and
because
the thing about
I'm concerned
swamp-
it's a well-drained site. Yeah,
it needs wet soil, but
I don't think we're
could
going to
be
get that on this
planted-
slope.
It could be planted down around the retention pond.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the, what's the name of that again?
It's called swamp milkweed, and it's native. It grows, blooms late in the summer, just before Joe Pye weed blooms. So you have this beautiful, big, sort of purple pink head, and then Joe Pye comes in, and it has a beautiful purple pink head. But
So
swamp
should we ask them to put swamp milkweed around the retention pond? Or
Yeah. just put a few plugs in and see if they take, and see if the deer leave them alone.
the issue with the plugs originally was they said we only sell plugs in groups of 50.
Oh yeah.
And then yesterday he said, well, it's okay. I'll do a half tray for you guys. So I'll do 30. And so so the newest estimate is for 30s.
Well, I mean, you may want to question whether you want, a half tray of something that isn't going to be planted directly into the pollinator garden, but is going to be put around the retention pond instead. But I consider that a perfect area for more pollinator plants that like to be wet.
Okay.
And, there's mostly junk around there right now. It's not very nice.
Okay.
And it will reproduce like crazy. I put in one plant up at Green Springs at a tiny pond by our parking lot, and I now have 3 or 4 big, robust plants, but their feet are almost in the water.
Okay. All right. Well, so then that's good. I will definitely ask about that.
But I think
So-
butterfly weed will do well in more of an upland site. It does pretty well. It's a prairie plant, so it doesn't have to have wet soil.
So that's butterfly wheel.
Yeah.
You said swamp milkweed.
Yeah, swamp milkweed is the one that you would put by the pond. Butterfly weed you'd put in the regular garden.
Butterfly weed is the tuberosa.
Yep.
And that's on the list.
Unfortunately, the deer like it.
I remember
So-
David Fernandez saying that we were like the worst, second worst place for deer.
We are, and we're trying to kill them.
Yeah.
And we're not getting very far. We have a hunting season for 6 months in the village, and we only
Yeah.
take out,
And now that they've mowed down the field on the
Yeah.
other side of Oak Crest, they're all over the place. I saw 2 in Shannon Park today.
they're always all over the place up there, but whatever they have coming up, the deer will start eating it. You know, I was told they planted some corn up there. I'm not sure why they disked everything and cut it so early. It's kind
Are
of a
we gonna-
tragedy. That's
Are we gonna
another story.
lose, what on this list are we gonna lose to the deer? So we have the milfoil,
Let me
which is
see.
the common yarrow.
I don't think they bother that much.
We have the candinescence, which is the Canadian anemone.
Let's see, where the heck is the list? I'm trying to find the list.
We've got, well, salvia, blazing star, cornflower, Shasta daisy.
Those all ought to do pretty well in
But
spite
based
of
on
deer.
the list, so I want to know if we're doing like this proposal. The one from Hugo Lansky from yesterday.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm
if the
trying-
budget is only for $5,000 and the most recent quote from Cuba Landscape is for $5,000,
Yes.
I think we say, okay, let's do a smaller pollinator garden. That seems like an appropriate number, and we plan in the future to maybe expand that. Maybe it extends down into the wet area, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
add some more. But that doesn't need to happen, year one, right? So maybe year one is just this $5,000 plant list, and we keep it limited.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds fine to me. And I think most of what is on this list will probably withstand, or probably the deer won't eat much. I mean, we can experiment. We won't know until we've planted stuff, and we may have to spray with some repellent for a while. But, that stuff doesn't last very long. It's not all
Okay.
that.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to get this pollinator garden planted before July 10th. Because
Ooh.
at the Shannon Park block party.
How long
Um,
Carolyn, how long is it gonna take to prepare the area to till it under and get soil amendments in there and
Well, it's gonna take 2 weeks to order the plants.
Mhm.
And Pagan Landscape said they would plant at the beginning of July. So
Uh-huh.
if John will do the work, which I don't know if he can, then we could do it before.
Do they have equipment for plowing? I
There's-
mean, for disking up the sod and
He did not seem concerned about the workload.
Okay.
John was very willing to do all of the things that we needed to do to keep the price down.
Can I ask a question? Did you also ask the plantsman if they?
Yes.
And they weren't
They
gonna.
were our first choice, but the plantsman did not want to do the paperwork necessary to
Okay.
place a
okay.
bid of this size with the village.
Well,
And
in
we
the
met out
future-
there and
Yeah.
it was great, and I really actually prefer Dan to do it, but it didn't work out for.
But in the future,
municipal reason.
if we're gonna piecemeal buy a few plants of this and a few plants of that, not this year, but in future years where we don't need to have a quote, we could go to the plantsman.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
It
yeah,
was just
I mean,
too-
he's just not, I don't think they're equipped to do the work.
Yeah, he wasn't equipped to do the bidding.
That's
Like,
fine.
yeah, he had to be on a approved list and he
He's
just didn't want to do it.
He's a very small operation, but.
With a new grandson, so yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that adds.
Okay, so we like we like this plant list. I
Yeah.
really wanted the shrubs in this year just to have some visual,
Yeah.
because the trees are a lot of money. So we can see,
How much is an Amelanchier? One?
The
Pardon?
Avalon here? Well, 3 for 225, so number says.
They're little. They're
25.
little. And they definitely have to be protected. They will get chewed in 2 seconds.
I was gonna say, we had it, he planted it and it. was
which
gone.
one, the shrub?
The Avalon here.
Amelanchier, Juneberry.
Okay. And we
Shadbush.
need, and we'll, okay, so I'll tell them, please bring protection for this.
Absolutely. And that means not just the bark, that means a fence as tall or taller than the little tree, because they'll get chewed to bits. And if the
Okay.
rabbits don't get the bark in the winter, the deer will top them. I have lots of experience with that out at Green Springs. We're trying to protect the ones we have coming in naturally. And they just get browsed all the time. If you don't-
Okay, all right, I'll mention that. That's something new I haven't brought up, so I'll mention that. Okay,
Yeah, I think we do want to have the aim of having things that are minimal,
Maintenance,
upkeep. Because
absolutely.
everybody says, oh yeah, I'll help.
right,
You know how that goes,
right.
right?
That is kind of what is overwhelming me today.
Yeah.
I was worried about how, because you come right into the neighborhood, it's right there, and if it looks a mess, the whole
I
neighborhood.
look at
looks a
my
mess.
garden and I'm overwhelmed. I
Yeah.
don't know if I can take another garden on.
Well,
Yeah,
if people take turns or have just little parties every 2 or 3 weeks to check weeds and see how things are going, up in your neighborhood makes the most sense. You've got plenty of people up in Shannon Park. It ought to be.
that's why I wanted it up by the block party, so people could get jazzed about it and be
Yeah.
willing to help.
Yeah.
That's why I have July 10th as the goal. I
But that's
also had a
fine.
goal of maybe having an educational event but I'm
Yeah.
wondering if we're doing all plugs, maybe it's too premature to do an educational event because we're looking at dirt.
Maybe next year. And
So
then
originally I thought I wanted to do an education event at the block party, but I
Yeah.
think we should do block party 2027 educational event.
I agree. And then you could bring someone in either from Cooperative Extension to talk about pollinators, or even better, bring somebody in from the bee program at Cornell.
Yeah, we can do both. We can have two
They've
speakers.
got really cool presentations. I've seen them. We've worked with them up at Green Springs because we have
Okay.
lots of wild bees up there. And we've had some interesting programs.
Okay, so I think we have our direction here.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any more thoughts?
When do you expect to start? When do you think John would start digging? ASAP?
Well, I had kind of said to him, pollinator garden's on for June, right? Pollinator's on for June, right? A couple of times over the winter. So
Uh-huh.
I know in the back of his mind, he knows that I'm hoping for June. And
course, they're
it always
paving,
depends on
probably.
his emergencies.
But they're
The more
also,
emergencies come up, then it's not going to be happening. But if they're barring no emergencies, I think it's at least on his radar screen.
what is their paving schedule this summer?
Painting or paving?
No, paving
They
roads.
just did a bunch of paving.
Or did you say payment?
Paving,
Paving, asphalt.
Paving.
yeah. They just did a bunch of paving
Yeah,
of,
I saw that they did Substation Road,
yeah,
behind
they
the
did.
bank.
And in front of the bank, yep.
And where else did they do? But I'm wondering if they have any other major paving projects. this
Not
summer.
that John talks about the last, so I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay, well, that's probably good for us then, if all they're doing right now is mowing and, worrying about infrastructure.
Okay, so I'll ask him about that. I'm gonna go back to Peel Landscape and say, we're great, just make sure you bring fencing for the shrubs.
Yep,
And we might wind up reducing the size some, so if there's leftovers, maybe we can think of what else we might want to do with.
yeah. And Jacob, I really love your plan. I love the layout. Are we gonna be there to delineate where we turn the soil over to prepare it?
If you
So
come,
I-
then you will be.
Are we staking it out? How's that gonna happen?
So I would propose that if we're reducing the size, we stay more or less the same, except that we just pull back behind the bulb line, right? That is the reduction, right? But the uphill side, that line stays the same in terms of where the shrubs go.
Yeah,
Does that? Okay.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I actually think we have to move the bulbs, so I think the bulbs are like maybe 1 foot in the wrong direction. So John and I talked about moving the bulbs.
Are they already in?
Yeah,
2 years.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you gotta dig them out.
but we talked about that. I told him, I was like, I will personally take every single one of those out of the ground and put them back in. And he said, no, it's okay, I'll do it.
Why are they in the wrong location?
Just logically for where the garden would start to me, it's like 12 inches, because the land is really steep and then it's not as steep. So logically, the garden starts to me right here and the bulbs are right here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I think they're just,
Closer to the, down here, want to move them this way?
I'm not sure where I want to move them, but it's where I think.
My objection is that we have this line of bulbs and, perhaps when it's fully, surrounded by shrubs and this and that'll look good. But right now, all I see is a lot of dead greenery.
Well, actually, I was worried about blocking the bulb. So I guess the other opportunity is, what's our shortest plant? We could put the shortest plant in front of the bulbs, and then we're not going to block them. We won't have to move them.
Just looks so unnatural, I guess that's the.
What's the shortest thing we're putting in?
Whoa, look at the list.
It's not much in short here.
They're mostly tall. They
So
will
then we
get
do have to
big.
move the bulbs, because I don't want the
Okay.
bulbs to get lost in the,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, if, as opposed to a line, could they be sort of clustered or something like that? I guess.
I think clusters are more natural. The lines just look so
Well, the
artificial
line is just so easy to put in. The tractor just goes zip.
because of that machine.
Yeah. All right, well, we are gonna move the bulbs, hopefully to someplace local. I will welcome every single one of you to come when John and I will meet out there. Please join us and help me figure this out, because I'm
Yeah.
finding it tricky.
When is that gonna happen?
It's not scheduled.
Okay, but let us know in plenty of time if you can.
I will. I'll ask him.
Stuff comes
Okay,
up. All right, that's
so
great.
talking about the final choice for the shade garden, we just have to pick the white oak replacement, and any of them are fine with me. I think if the bur oak is gonna cause burrs on the soccer field, then it should be one of the other two. And anything you choose is fine with me.
I don't have any really strong feelings. If swamp white is available, it's a nice tree.
My feeling is that when you go to get the plant, pick the nicest one.
Well, they're gonna order it and
You're
put
gonna
it in
order it,
and,
that's what we get.
yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't it have to meet our approval? We don't want a wimp.
So which one of those do you want to tell them? The Chappaqua or the other one?
Chinkapin? I'm not as familiar with chinkapin. I think that's more of a Midwestern tree, isn't it? As bur oak is, but swamp white, is probably a lot. Isn't that, Jacob, isn't it a lot like a regular white oak? Just grows in
Yeah.
a wetter area.
Yeah, it
It has the
tolerates
shaggy
more.
bark.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah.
shaggy bark as opposed to a red.
I really think either one would be fine here. I'd say Swamp White's probably a little more affordable, I would imagine, but I don't think they're giving us a price
It says
difference.
swamp
So
white oak, very durable tree with waxy green leaves, same size and price. Chippewapic oak, same size and
Chinkapin.
price. Very
Chinkapin.
tough oak with chestnut-like leaves. Bur oak, a little more expensive, and we've already ruled it out. Heritage oak is an English oak swamp white hybrid.
So, the swamp oak was very tough. It didn't seem to have any problems with disease or anything. But
Here's
the
the-
bur oak said it tolerated a wide variety of soil and a good choice where other trees won't grow.
But we've eliminated the bur oak because of the burrs.
Here's the swamp, the way it looks like a mature trunk and the leaf. It's sort of an interesting leaf. It's kind of an abbreviated red oak or black oak leaf.
this
And this is the chinkapin, looks much more like a chestnut oak. There's the chinkapin. This one is the chinkapin.
Okay.
So
And that is a bur oak, I believe.
That's pretty. That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
I love it. I know. That's like in the white oak family. I don't know where I got that, but I've had it.
Should we go back to the bur oak, or should we worry about the
No.
burrs? We should worry about them. Okay.
I think if you think the acorns are going to be a problem, and they're big and they have a big cap, as I remember, and they're real
Okay.
spiky.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
pick one of the less.
So
My guess is the squirrels are going to get them all. If they don't get them, the deer will. But you still have a playing field nearby, and I think that's an important consideration. We don't want people to hate our trees.
I would say Swamp White Oak. It's my vote.
Okay. All right, mine too.
which one?
We go swamp white oak, which is very terrible, tough trees with waxy green leaves.
Yeah,
Okay,
that looked good.
There it is.
excellent. Thank you guys for helping with that decision.
That wasn't so hard.
So I only sent this to you today, so I apologize if you haven't. I've been thinking about it, and I just started playing around with what we want the memorials on the trees to say. And I kind of played around with different versions. So Don was a trustee, deputy mayor and mayor.
Right.
Anne was who is a founder, deputy mayor, and trustee and mayor, excuse me.
Yep.
So it's tricky to figure out how we want to phrase it. And we'll ask the families, of course, in the before. But Jody was maybe suggesting dedicated to Mayor Darn Hotel in appreciation of your years of service, 1989 to 2025, I think, or six. And then not mentioning like all the different roles, calling him mayor. But then with Anne, it would be, I really want that founder, but she was
Yeah.
also the mayor.
Yeah.
So it'd be founder and mayor.
Yeah.
And they also don't have to all say the same thing. They could say different things. But I like the same thing.
Yeah.
But
I do.
anyway,
Keep it simple.
what do you guys think about the memorial language?
I rewrote it a little bit.
Oh, great.
I had Village of Lansing in memory and gratitude.
Hmm.
And then I listed the three people, Don Hartle, here's why. Anne McClurfurry, here's why.
Here's why.
Well, each tree is going to have its own bar. So it's going to be, it would say Village of Lansing and
Yeah, they're all have their
and
own
it would just be. I mean, I think that's really clean, actually. I like that.
I'll send it to you.
Does David Dubois have family in the area still? Do we know?
Barbara may have left.
Okay, I was just
Well-
wondering if there were any, if they had any suggestions of what David really liked in the way of a tree, like, and the same with, I don't know if Ron is still around, Ron Furry.
I think he's still alive, but
But I don't know if he's still living in the village or if he's moved or anything. That was a pretty big house that they had.
Well, let's talk about the language versus the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll just get the language. The language is
And-
fine.
I did the same thing that you did. I went to her obituary and it said she was a founder, she was a trustee, she was a deputy mayor, but it didn't say when. But I don't know that it really matters that you list all those dates.
No, I
think
don't
the
either.
important one is that she founded in 1974 and she was the mayor from 81 to 96.
Okay,
That's significant.
so just put those
Yeah.
dates.
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah,
send-
that looks much cleaner. I like that better.
Okay.
yeah.
And then with
And then
Dave,
Don was trustee and then mayor.
Then we would take out the years of Don being deputy mayor also.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
consistency. Like, why would we list
Yeah.
his but not hers?
We could do that. Well, yeah, we didn't know. So we could say trustee and deputy mayor and then he was the mayor. Okay.
Okay, all right, that looks clean. Susan will send that around, share that with us.
Yeah,
If people are happy with that language.
and
that's
then
fine.
Dave- for Dave, just wise counsel or wise guidance.
Well, it was the village attorney.
Well, we're just giving people's titles.
Oh,
Yeah.
not anything, okay.
We could do more. I mean, I'm open to all suggestions. Why don't you take Susan's and then send something else
I'll
that you like
send-
better?
Hey, Dave led us through a whole lot of tricky stuff, I'll tell you. He was our counsel, or Randy Marcus before him. Or maybe it was Dave
Village
first and
counsel.
then Randy. We have really leaned heavily on our village attorneys, especially last night. Woohoo! Am I ever glad we have Natalie?
And that's why if we say, I don't think we said it before, in memory and gratitude. I mean, you're grateful for
Yeah.
the extra.
Oh, boy,
effort,
are we
so-
ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
These people who practice
I'll send it
municipal
around.
law, you got to really get in the weeds to understand how to do things right in municipal law. And, we go about our business as, appointees or elected officials and don't think about all that stuff very much, but they have to be deep in it all the time. I can't say it's the most fun, but we do have a great support system in Albany. And, when you have a question, you call them up and they answer it. So, we're lucky that we've had the lawyers we have. They've been great.
Okay.
So is there room on these placards for a little more personal statement? And does that come from the family or does that come from the village?
I think it should come from the village because we're the ones who are honoring them for their work they did for us. I mean, the families have had.
Your question is, I've looked at samples of the placards. I haven't spoken to the placard producer about limitations like that, but you could pay for whatever you want, right? In the world, I mean, it could be as big and small as you want. I'm gonna call that, I'll actually call and get pricing and see if there's a difference in pricing.
Carolyn, who are you using for the placards?
We were gonna
Dryden?
use the Dryden trophy
Yeah.
people.
That's Vicky. She's great. She's done a whole lot of stuff for us at Green Springs, and she's slow, but she's good. I mean, because she's a
Okay.
one-person operation,
Okay,
but
Okay.
I highly recommend her.
I would say, we wanted to do the same ones that Patrick did for the town. What kind of pricing are we looking at? Is there a price per letter, price per word, price per size? And then it'll help us to formulate the final decision.
And then it
I
has
probably
to
should have called first. What?
it has to be durable because it's going to be out on a tree.
Correct. It's got to be made for this purpose.
You know, like sealed brass or something like that, or aluminum, whatever.
Okay. I'll call her right after we get out of this meeting, actually. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is that I sent you guys the memo with my general thoughts from the Cornell Design Studios presentations about what would be possible. And this is more of a long-term planning portion of a conversation rather than making explicit decisions. But I wanted to get other people's thoughts, having seen Kate's presentation, thinking about our parks. What are some things that we're going to just be thinking about going forward in terms of concepts for our parks, ideas that you liked? Ideas that I really grabbed me were maybe trying to do a bike path between Hartel Park and Hickey Park. That really grabbed me. It really grabbed me to try to do a path in the back of Hartel Park that's off of the pavement, that's more of like a wood path to the oak tree, and maybe having some educational stations there. You guys got this memo, so I want to hear from everyone else.
I sent some additions.
Yeah, I'm looking at those, Kathleen.
It was just basically a brain dump of just everything I thought of. It wasn't divided up to short-term feasible, mid-term, long-term, future wish list.
What was your favorite idea that you really liked the best?
I'm not sure we saw an update to the memo. Was that true?
Just came with Kathleen's updates in red, her additions.
Kind of maroon.
Uh,
I see.
You see it?
Yeah.
They're two.
Did you send that today?
Yesterday maybe, or June 11th.
Oh, I sent it this morning, sorry.
Map for each park. Yes, I would love to have a permanent map in each park, for sure.
And I'm thinking of the type like at the Cornell Botanical Garden, you know, that type of map. So you have a map of the park itself, and then in the future, once you've got the whole comprehensive plan, there can be one that shows that park within the context of the overall comprehensive.
Right, and how you get from park to park. So more wayfinding between
The
parks.
Trails, the walkways, et cetera.
Yes.
How everything's connected.
I think I like the idea of identifying some of the trees, but I think you can't do a stake in the ground because they have to mow. But in the Botanic Garden, they do a tag that is attached to the tree, to a branch or the stem.
Oh, I love that idea.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
good project for Cornell undergrad
Yep, you bet.
landscape architecture students.
Because they can stamp those aluminum tags, so you don't have to worry about painting those
Yeah.
names forever. And
Re-identification tags is a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. so it'll have the common name and the actual Latin name and where it's from, you know, where it grows, where it's native to.
And then I never knew what a bioblitz was, but the town was talking about it for the town of Lansing.
Yeah.
Tentatively in August, and then pulling in nature walk and educational outreach with it. But that would help us update an inventory So we have the really old 2001 or 2000 something inventory. But going forward, we could update it with everything that we then put in terms of trees and
Mhm.
also wildlife, unique area.
Who runs the BioBlitz? Isn't that Soil and Water?
I don't,
I thought it was a DEC thing, that it's statewide and they have big competitions.
well, I think they were going to call in some people from Cornell and Cuba Nature Center for the educational outreach part of it and paleontology.
The Nature Center isn't running anymore. It's defunct.
Very sad.
Yeah, it's closed, unfortunately. It's an interesting idea. Do we have, enough access to all the places we think people might be searching for species? We could assign different places, that we think might be good candidates. But it seems like a lot to organize, though.
So I don't know if it was in the tentative stage.
So it might be a good idea. I'm looking at Kathleen's list. I would suggest that each one of us add stuff to this. And that be our working document for what we use for our Greenway plan, because before we got kind of into the weeds with all of these projects, what I really wanted to be focusing on this year was updating that Greenway plan. And starting with this memo, we could be doing that, putting in our ideas for the parks. We can organize this a little bit better in terms of like park by park in general, and just kind of, and I like the way I put in something and Kathleen was like, no, that's not for me. And, just go ahead and add that in. No, I'm
Yeah.
serious. Like, should we split rail fence? No, let's use natural materials. Great. Two opinions. The group decides. You've already convinced me. Natural materials. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's great. So we can kind of use this as a working doc. Maybe we can convert this to a Google Drive doc, and I'll send
put
it
on the
around.
drive.
And
Yeah.
people can put in all their comments and all their thoughts, what you're seeing, both from the design studio and just through our conversations that we've been having this past year. And this will be our working doc that we'll use to really start the planning process for the update, which is very, what I really hoping that we are going to do. I'm kind of, because we're actually doing and planning at the same time, I don't think that I don't have a goal for myself that we're going to have an update by the end of this year, because that's in 6 months and we have a lot to think about and think carefully about. So that's fine. I would actually rather keep doing some concrete things, like start getting that sign that we need for Don Hartel on Warren Road and things like that.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know it's not as important to me to get this document done as it is for me to get some of the things that we need to do done, as long as they're within our vision. Like, we have a clear idea. I don't want it to be like kind of in thin air, which is why I do want the updated plan. But if we know we're going to need better wayfinding for Marion Hartel, we can do that now and not wait for the completed plan.
I think that would be more immediate.
So it's kind of balancing those two things.
And then, since there are pop-up youth sports events, just having down the road additional shade structures for not only the kids, but also for those that are watching it,
Are you talking about a Hartel?
Yeah.
Or you mentioned
And Ned
Dankert.
Hickey,
Yeah.
even Ned Hickey, I think, and a Hartel would be the two.
You said Dankert.
Dankert.
There is a structure.
Dankert has the pavilion where I'm going to put my pickleball court someday, but we could move the pavilion over to where the sports viewing is, and then you can have both those things. You can have your cake and eat it too.
Because I'm thinking like I'm thinking my grandkids. So it's more of a rectangular structure for the team, and it's sort of a bleacher type thing, just a tiered covered area for the participants that go on the edge of where they would be playing, separate from the pavilion.
Yeah,
So two ends of the park,
yeah.
like Hartel. Does that make sense?
I totally have your vision. Bleachers is one thing and shade structures is another in my head, so I don't completely have, but if you can send us an image,
Okay.
then
Tarp over bleachers.
Carolyn, I just have a question for everybody in Harthill Park. How much is the soccer field used by teams?
I am very pleased to report that the YMCA is going to be holding a new soccer camp this summer and using Martell Park.
Oh,
And that's
fantastic.
mostly because Lorraine Capagrosso is very active at the Y, and she encouraged them to use the park. She also encouraged them to use the park for their 5K. You know, when we get this new trail in and we have trail markers, they will use it for their 5K,
That's
which
great.
also makes me so happy. So we
Yeah.
got to get that trail in. So John got a little bit of pushback from the clay packs. So then we're trying to go the upper route, which is the two
Oh,
apartment complexes. And because they're just managed out of town, it's just harder to hear back from them. One of them was like, love this idea. The other one was like, love this idea, but I don't get to decide. Someone
What
else
did-
in
what was-
Kansas decides.
what was the Claypax feedback?
They just were just kind of like asking for a lot, hemming and hawing, those kind of things.
They
But
didn't want
it might be them. It might be, we'll go one way or the other.
Okay, but I mean, they were a little concerned about having the trail near their property line, right?
I don't actually think so. I actually think they want the trail. I just think they want to see how much they can get to.
Hmm.
I don't know. Jacob, do you have your hand up?
No, no,
No,
but
okay.
I do recall that they were encroaching on the village property currently.
Exactly.
Oh, there's
That's what I
that.
recall.
Oh.
They have like a plot that's like the size of this room. That's actually the villages that they're tending.
Well, then they should pay us.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the other way around.
So, yeah. Anyway, but then bringing people to Hartel Park just brings me so much joy. So we get this trail in, we get the Wise 5K there. Everyone in
That's
town's like,
great.
look at this great park. Let's use this every day, etc.
And then
And
they
the Y
see,
could be taking kids up there for picnics, they could do a lot more stuff, not just on their own area, because they're going to
Yeah.
be expanding anyhow to put in that lap pool. So they may be taking up more of their land
Yeah.
in order to build out their building. So the more they can use our park, that's great.
Yeah, I had one more topic and we have 10 more minutes, but maybe it's too much to talk about in 10 minutes. But the other topic is that you guys know that we got a revised tree plan from Cagle Landscape for Trip Hammer. And it has quite a few different species proposed. It's
Okay.
not just four. Let's see. There's
Did you send that to us?
2,
or have we
3,
not?
yes.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yes, no, I've sent
I
it
don't
to you
think I've
twice.
seen it.
Oh,
No, I sent it attached to the meeting. With the first time I told you that the meeting, I think I attached
Oh,
it,
okay.
right?
what's the date on it?
April 26th.
oh, it's back a ways. Okay. I know.
Okay.
I
Well,
thought I-
then, listen, so I want these to go in at least in part in the fall, which actually is coming up.
Yeah.
So we do have to take a look at this. This plan takes into account all of our constraints, which is sometimes it's visual, sometimes it's power lines, sometimes it's conduits. And so it's kind of a little bit of like a lot of different trees. And on the one hand, John loved that idea of like a Dutch elm boulevard, but the Dutch elms then came suppressed to the disease. And so he knows it's beautiful, but also that it's susceptible. So he's come around to doing a more variety.
Yeah. What's
And-
interesting about the trees that are there is that they are not all growing the same way, because some are in really terrible soil that apparently never got amended and they just have never done well. So they're small and scrawny, and others have just bushed out like crazy. So it already has some variety, even though it's a monoculture.
Yeah, well, this has a lot of variety and they're definitely going to amend the soil. And we are gonna pay them to do the watering as well for this, so hopefully everything will last. But we have the cherry, we have the maple, which I'm actually happy about. We have the Accolade cherry, the McNair red horse chestnut, Chastity pear, Accolade cherry, crab apple, Accolade cherry, Adirondack crab apple, the chestnut, a hybrid maple, existing elms, and another hybrid maple. So I think it looks like a nice plan.
Can you resend that?
Yes.
Apologies.
I can't
For whatever
find it.
reason
I'm
I can't
looking.
find it in my email.
Yeah, I know it's the trouble is these emails are on long strings and I just can't.
I was hoping to do this and not have to print out, but I obviously have to print out.
Okay, yeah, I'll resend everybody that.
Thank you.
So I think then, I'd like to get people to contribute to the memo that we're gonna start on the park planning.
And you're gonna make a Google Doc.
And it's gonna be a Google Doc that I'm gonna send out later today, so I'm gonna do the Google Doc. I'm gonna call Vicky. And I'm gonna share again the trees, the trip trees. And we are gonna hopefully all meet together at the pollinator garden groundbreaking, or as
Yep.
many people who are free.
Yep.
To help kind of contain that process a little bit. And John's gonna do his work first, so if it comes out smaller, we can tell them, oh, don't bring that extra cubic feet, we don't need it,
Yeah.
and then we won't pay for it.
To make a great article for both the online free newspaper and the Tompkins Weekly, for groundbreaking. If you want to do that with a picture
Okay.
or.
Yeah, we could do a press release. We talked about doing some signage for the pollinator garden.
Yeah.
So I think I asked the town where they got their sign made. So that might be in an email somewhere. But do you have, Lynn, information that you want about the pollinator garden? Like, there must be botanical gardens that have pollinator signs that we can kind of crib off of to create
Yeah.
ours.
I could get us a pollinator sign from the Xerces Society, which is a standard sign that is being used all over the country. It's only about that big and it's very attractive and it shows a big butterfly on it and it says this is a pollinator garden. It makes it very clear what it is.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just make a contribution I've done this for my sister. I've done it for Green Springs. We have a couple of signs up there on our different burial areas. And all I have to do is make a contribution to Xerces and they'll send me a sign.
Let's
So
start
I-
with that one.
I
And
will
then
do
we
that.
can work on another one.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, it's small and it's very attractive. So it's not in your face, but it says everything it needs to say in a picture.
Small garden, it's not like the botanical garden.
Well, let's see this sign and then see what else we want to add to it after we have
Yeah.
this one.
We might want, we might want to put some sort of a QR code in the garden that takes us to a link, say, on the village website that explains what we've planted and why and what gets attracted to the different plants. What kind of pollinators are we talking about? Everybody thinks honeybees, but there's a whole lot more out there besides honeybees that are actually more important. So, I think you clutter things up by trying to provide all that out at the garden. But it might, someday maybe we want to include some more educational information about the garden at the site. But maybe to start with, we could just put it on our website, and then have a link to it.
Okay,
Interesting.
that's a good idea. Village website pollinator page. Okay. Okay.
Pollinator page. There you go. Lucky little bugs.
So today is the third Wednesday in June. July 15th is the third Wednesday in July.
Okay.
So that will be our new Greenway meeting.
Okay. I can just do that.
Still in.
It'll be July 15th
At noon.
at noon.
Okay.
And then just moving forward, August 19th at noon.
Let's see. August 19th. Yep. That gets us through the summer anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
All right. I really appreciate everyone's feedback today. I feel like we made some good decisions and everything is chugging along.
I can't wait to see it
One-
all
one-
finished. It's gonna be
One
wonderful.
last note, just before we all drop off, the maps that TG Miller prepared.
Mhm.
Um, would it be possible to get some large format prints of those? I
That
feel
would be
like
Because they're small.
at the next meeting, if we were all in person and we could sort of point, maybe even throw some trace paper over it and kind of draw some of the things that are in our heads,
Yeah, yeah.
it might be helpful. And then also on that topic, their map of Harthill Park doesn't extend to include the area where the trail is going to be expanded or the existing trails. And I don't know if that's a separate map that they're going to prepare or not, but that would also be helpful, particularly if we're talking about having races and things,
Mhm.
having that as a full map of that whole combined Harthill and the trails, that would be great. So
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I'm pretty sure they can print those here. I will ask.
Yeah, I'm sure they can. I mean,
Okay, so yeah, so for the next meeting, the current agenda will be an update on our ongoing projects and consideration of the TG Miller maps.
And maybe groundbreaking will happen before our next meeting.
Maybe it will, hopefully it will.
Keep us posted.
Okay. All right, thanks all.
Super, thank you,
Right.
Caroline. Thanks, everybody. Sorry I was late.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye. So much to do. There's so much to do. We should just have one full-time employee doing parks and then we'd have everything.
Be out of town for the next one, but I might be able to join by Zoom.
Okay, that would be great. If you can.
All pre-planned gardens. This place is great.
I know that.
Oh.
I know that.
Yeah, so I was just looking at, we already have
Oh,
some of
these.
this stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, this one. So, and then you can cross it with the deer resistant.
I am worried also about the aesthetics of the garden.
Yep. That's nice, this gives you a kind of visual.
Right, but that's a beautiful garden, like, they don't happen magically. So I am worried about the upkeep.
Yeah,
and all
well,
that.
and that's another thing, like, just establishing a Friends of the Park. I don't know if anyone's ever responded.
When I first pitched the pollinator garden to the neighborhood, people definitely responded that they would help. But that was a while ago.
Because there are different models that can be just to help, everybody.
Well, we need to,
pitch in,
we
like a
need, we
garden
need to do the
club.
watering. I need to do a watering schedule.
And
So-
then rain barrels that are covered with a screen so they don't become mosquito breeders.
We're gonna use the municipal water
Right.
for the initial year. Next year, we can figure it out.
Something going forward to
Yeah.
that out. That they could even.
Hopefully, everything will be established.
Here, put it on the truck.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Hey, Jody, yeah, Mike has a way to figure things out about our thoughts, right? He has always had himself with people. Yeah. So you guys. Yeah. Yeah. So we're getting on vacation. Yeah.
Well,
No, they don't have one.
at that time I'll be back down at Sloan. But then I'm,
Okay, thanks, guys.
thank you. How you liking your birthday?
I think you look great and you're walking every day and
Walking
getting your
every day and
exercise.
Getting my strength back up, yeah.
And your garden always looks nice, your house always.
But you didn't see the back of the garden.
True.
I have a big garden in the back that David did, and it's just a mess, but
Really?
yeah, the deer enjoy it, the
Oh.
butterflies enjoy it. Chipmunks.
The deer
enjoy
are
it.
everywhere.
Well, I put impatiens in my window box and I had to go somewhere this morning. I came home and I sprayed. Well, after seeing all these deer, because of course that's candy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Candy.
All right, bye guys. Bye.
I planted, well, this is before we moved here. I had houses, I had, dandelions, everything. I was into planting because the kids keep them outside, keep them planting. And I put in a whole row along the field of impatiens and everything else, scattered stuff. My neighbor gave me this homemade recipe, spray it with
Oh,
it
yeah?
the next
With the egg.
morning. I came, no,
Oh, it's
no,
the opposite?
it was like they were clipped right down the entire row.
Oh,
On
God.
the impatience and the.
No, I use
but-
that deer spray but I mean, every time it rains, you gotta put it back on.
Oh,
And so I'm careful, like I'll put it in a pot, you can't put this very far. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is,
that stuff does work.
Yes, you don't like it. I mean, it's nasty smelling. No, I'll look at what I have and you mix it, so I think I
Right.
got a kilo landscape.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and it's just a lot of names and, I remember somebody said, use Milorganite, they don't like that. And, yeah.
They
I mean,
like it.
they're adaptable.
Oh, they do adapt.
Yeah,
They're-
a lot of fawns. Yes, I mean, I think they started out late because of the harsh winter. What are you at?
Cedar.
Oh, we're our neighbors. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's funny, I have so many friends that moved to Canada, why would I want to?
other side. That's okay. We'll get that.